Hey bro, have you ever disagreed with the values that your parents stand for? Of course you have, right? Everyone does. At least in some aspect or the other, we all do. Don't we? Do you have the courage to stand up against it? To oppose the values that your parents have laid on you? But before you think about that, before you think about opposing those values, let's say, you need to think critically. Your parents have to have raised you with certain values. They would have followed certain values, and the values that were embedded in their mind would have came onto you. And in your experience onto the real world and using your critical thinking, you have to think critically by yourself about the world. And you, with that level of critical thought, you would have developed some beliefs and values that go against the ones of your parents. It is very normal. And I have Indian parents. I am Indian. And if you live in the same country as me, you can see from the color of my skin. If you're like anywhere in Asia, that part, you know how your parents are. Even though as much as I'm like thankful and grateful to have parents who did so many good stuff to me, I have beliefs that go against what they stand for. Anyway, here I want to date people. Even at such a young age, I want to date women. I want to date multiple women before I go out and settle with someone and get married. Probably I'll probably have sex before marriage. These are stuff that I want to do, and I don't want you to go out and say that you want to do these stuff just because I said that I want to. I don't want to follow the path of the scripted life. I want to go to the path of the school, get a good job, get a good college, and then work in that job, get settled. I don't want to pursue that life. I want to go through the route of entrepreneurship. And for me, I do not have belief in God. Maybe I do not believe that God exists. I'm an atheist, let's say. Maybe in the future, I will think in terms of the mindset of God, but that is just it's not like I believe in God or I don't believe in God. Maybe in the future I'll think like I want to try to act as if I believe in God, to live up to those values, to live up to that belief with my thoughts, words and actions. But whether he actually exists or not, I don't know. I'm agnostic in that way, and that I don't know, that sticks with me even now. I can't never say with certainty that God is there. There's a lot of things that we don't know. That's like 1 over a million possibilities of things that we do not know, and you may disagree with me on this belief, but I, as of now, do not have faith in God, and that goes against my like religious, spiritual parents. I've been always raised to be a person that I've been raised to be a pussy, and that led to me getting bullied because I've been taught to avoid physical conflict. I was raised up with these ideas in my mind, whether they said it openly or not. I've been raised with the idea of I should be avoiding conflict. If someone hits me, I shouldn't hit back. I should go and tell the teacher. How good do you think that worked? That avoidance of conflict, that unacceptance of the part of me that needs that aggression, the part of that aggressive part of me that I declared as unacceptable. How do you think that led to me? That led to me getting bullied. That led to me getting bullied, teased, mocked, and I couldn't do anything. I didn't do anything for a huge part of my life, and I had to go out into the world. I had to get introspective, and I had to reclaim that aggressive part of myself. That was hard. When I was getting into physical conflict, to standing up for what I believed was right, to standing up to a dude who just took my bag and put his bag in my place, I had enough, and that led to physical conflict. I fought and I got my place back. We got into a physical fight, and my heart was beating. I was anxious. I was in fear. That's exactly what I did. That breath is exactly what I did before the fight started, and then it would be considered that I won the fight, which may or may not happen to you, but you shouldn't have to fear that aggression in yourself. These ways I disagree with the values of my parents, and what can I do about it? In terms of the career, I have went and said this before, I have went and said that I want to pursue entrepreneurship, that if I make enough money with business, can I quit school? I asked them that, and that went very wrong. I'm telling you, they scolded me for like half an hour, 1 hour, and told me to go and study. But they are okay with me pursuing entrepreneurship, doing business, all that stuff as a hobby, as long as my studies don't get interrupted. So I have to get results. You have to, and you need to get results with whatever alternate career path that. First, take that career path as a hobby, and you need to get results. And you need to earn their respect by showing your work ethic. But if they see you telling that I'm going to work on this hobby of mine, and then 5 minutes later they're hearing video game sounds on your room, do you think they'll respect you? No. And if you have a kid that's that lazy, that undisciplined, and then he tells you, I don't want to pursue the career path that you are late for me, you tell him to get his shit together and go and study. But what if he's disciplined? He has work ethic. You've seen him go out and win the battles, to go out and fight and stay and win the battles that he needs to be fighting for himself. You see him evolve as a person. You see him getting results with the alternate career path that he wants to follow. You are a lot more likely to agree to it. And in terms of the religion, I already told them, when I got the opportunity, I told them I don't believe in that stuff. After a few times, that just led them to advising me, but after that, they still advise me, but they don't care as much. I've reinstated that. See, it's such a fear. When you got into a physical fight, for me it was a fear. What if I get into a physical fight, having conflict, I do like a lot of damage to the other person, and what if my parents get to know? What will happen then? I had to face that fears inside myself. I had to be okay with that possibility of that happening. As well as in times and opportunities where that conversation came up, I had to stick to my values. I had to tell it out loud that you need to have the aggression to assert yourself. And like, my dad was like, my dad, this is the ideals of my parents, that you have to not make enemies, that you have to avoid conflict, you have to be peaceful. But it's like, if you irritate the waiter too much, he'll spit in your food. Well, I told him that if you are a pussy, instead of spitting in your food, he'll spit in your face and go. That is how my values go up against their values. And I still haven't discussed with them about like sex and dating and how I want to live my own life in that terms, because it's so, that level of fear, that level of awkwardness, I need to face that. And so do you. The values that you have about the world, that will be different from those that the parents have. How you want to live your life in this world. Well, you should also consider the possibility that what you are thinking may be wrong. I thought that entrepreneurship is for me. I need to do entrepreneurship. If I dedicated myself to it, I can do it. I can get success. And the only reason that I haven't been able to make a lot of money is because of my parents forcing me to not do it, forcing me to go and study. But when I was actually able to pursue it, when I was actually able to spend some time trying to make money, that's when I realized it's a whole lot fucking harder than I actually thought. My ego, my overconfidence took a hit, and I've started grinding a lot more. So you have to think in terms of their side. Why do they think that? Because most of you, your parents aren't selfish, your parents aren't jealous. They want what they think is the best for you. After everything they want you to go to a school, get a good job, get satisfied in life, all of that. Because in the underlying reason, they want you to be happy, and they believe that that gets you to happiness. Because for most people watching this video, your parents believe that those things would make them happy. They saw how they failed or succeeded in living that life, and how that led to their quality of life. And they think that if let's say your parents are a doctor or an engineer or whatever this traditional life path is, or they fail to be that, they think that making you as one of those successful positions as a doctor or an engineer will make you happy, will make you successful, because they failed to do that. Or if they did, they think that with the level that you're progressing right now, if you keep going on the same path, you will become a lot more successful than them in that field. And if you don't have another plan, let's say you're going to entrepreneurship, you want to pursue sports entrepreneurship because that's the life that you want to live. If you don't have the ability, you have to, I told you, right, you have to get results to prove to your parents. Well, you have to get results to prove to yourself that you can succeed in that path. Because getting a stable job, that's relatively easy. I mean, there are people are getting laid off, all that bullshit is happening, but that's less of the risk factor. There's less of an X factor that happens because it's a path that's way more traveled. So that's a very stable position, we can say. And unless you have a clear vision, like an ambition, a will that you know you can dedicate yourself to that goal and succeed in, unless you get proof in that path for yourself and for your parents that you can survive in this path, survive from the path which is less traveled, making that switch is not a viable option for you. And you have to prove it to yourself first. How? And then that, all of the stuff that I just said, all of the stories that I just said, comes down to this: how do you face that conflict? It happens with your own parents. That's one of the hardest things to face, because as a kid you grew up, it's like if they don't like something about you, that part is deemed unacceptable, because they are your parents or guardians. They mean a lot, they have a huge authority. So if they say, it's like they don't like this part of me, so if I show this part of me, I won't be loved, I will be abandoned. So I'm just gonna stuff it back. I'm just gonna declare that unacceptable. And then when you actually need those parts of yourself, you need to have to go through a lot to reclaim those parts of yourself that has been deemed unacceptable. So you have to ask yourself, why do you fear? Why do you have to, you get anxious and triggered at the idea of those conflicts and those conversations with your parents. You're like, shit, what if it happened? I'm gonna die. Ask yourself why, and dig deeper and dig deeper. Why? And it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and then it's like, I have so much fear of rejection and judgment from my parents and my family. That's what I figured out, and maybe it will be different for you, I don't know. And you have to do some of that figuring out and some of that facing of those fears in the real world. Because sitting down, journaling and meditating, even though it may help, it's not going to do much. And then you go out and you take these actions onto the real world, where you face your fear of rejection, face your fear of being judged. You stand, you do the right things that you know will make you feel rejected and make you feel judged. And that's how you face your fears, and that's how you grow as a person, including standing against the values that your parents have laid for you. A lot of this stuff of the inner work and going out, facing these fears, I'm still wrapping my mind around those techniques and trying to implement that in my own life. And as I progress in that, I'll also make a video about that to help you use that to help yourself. I'm rooting for you. Take action.